Let us bring you some great car content and some sunshine right into your living room or wherever you are right at the moment. Today with a full review of the Toyota Supra and with a special focus on the new 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Does it actually make sense to save 10,000 euros in comparison to the 3-liter 6-cylinder? We have already been driving the sibling of this one, the open BMW Z4, both as 4 and 6-cylinder. Today now the first time here with a smaller engine for the Supra. How will that play out? This will be a very interesting episode. We're going to tell you which engine to pick for the Supra and also differences between the Supra and the Z4. So please join us here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Thomas in front of the camera, Jonas behind the camera. As you know, exterior, interior, fun driving experience, a little bit of racetrack, a little bit of open road, and everything of that. Full HD, full screen, and full length. Let's go! Here in the front, the Toyota Supra, you see this very round shape that's different to the BMW Z4. The Z4, of course, the convertible version. Toyota here, the coupe version. There's this collaboration, they develop it together, and then everything is set, different emphasis. But it's becoming quite clear that BMW had a bigger share in the whole building and development process. We'll see more about that later. The headlamps here, very horizontally drawn. LED also for the headlamp unit, for the main headlamp unit is standard actually, and especially in the white color here, this black lower bumper is really very contrasting, so a strong real sports car look here in the front already for the Supra. What do you think? Oh, by the way, Toyota GR Supra, it's officially GR for Gazoo Racing, for the Toyota racing team, but I think it's just easier than we just say it, Toyota Supra, right? 4'38", 14'4", or 172 inches is the length. It's about 6 centimeters or 2 inches longer than the BMW Z4, but same wheelbase, just a little bit different overhang because the spoilers are somewhat different. Interesting is here that the 4-cylinder Toyota Supra comes with 18-inch wheels. We see these here at the moment, and the 6-cylinder comes with 19-inch wheels. And this is of course better here for the riding comfort. The visual part, of course, is then more attractive with the 6-cylinder, but really interesting to see how that plays out with driving. Contrasting mirror caps right there, some vortex generators, we know these also from BMW, and then this typical sports car shape, very strong shoulders. Of course, the Supra with the closed top looks, more menacing, so to say. Again, I'm also a convertible fan, so yeah, it always depends on what you like best, but both cars actually, both Supra and Z4 have their own emphasis. Soon more to that while driving. A beautiful integrated spoiler design here, very sculptural indeed, and very slim tail lamps, and this massive diffuser style in the lower part. The exhaust pipes look still quite impressive, although this is the 4-cylinder, but of course, yes, sound-wise there is a big difference to the 6-cylinder. Please also tune into the 6-cylinder Supra review. We'll all link them in the video description and in the pinned comment that you could later also compare it. You open the trunk from the inside of the driver door or with pressing the key fob. And here we go. Of course, where the Supra has a little bit more flexibility than the Z4 Roadster. It's actually quite well usable. Of course, it's a very high loading sill for that. Yeah, but I mean, I think you can get along with 2 people or something. You can also remove this top cover here, and secret is this. First push it up right here and then pull like this, and then we can remove it, and you can do even a little bit more with that, and I can also give you the measurements because the normal trunk length here, let's do it like to the seats, this would already be 80 centimeters. So, oh, sorry about that. wrong side. This would be 1 meters and 20. And the width, yeah, that's a little bit tricky now to get the real width in there. So on the inside here, that's, yeah, it's a little bit less than a meter actually. But you know, on the inside and lower part. And to this cover, this would be about 40 centimeters. And then of course here, even higher, a little bit less than 70. I mean, it will be a little bit bulky, of course, and you have to see that you don't put anything here, that it goes flying all over the compartment. Again, for suitcases and stuff and backpacks, it's all good. So what do we have here under the hood today? A 2-liter 4-cylinder with 258 horsepower. 5.2 seconds is the acceleration figure, 2 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. And the alternative would be the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder with 340 horsepower. It's then 4.3 seconds in the acceleration figure, so about a second faster. And the 4-cylinder, however, is about 100 kilograms or 220 pounds lighter and 10,000 euros less expensive. So with the Z4, we already had the experience that a lighter front axle is actually a good thing, although you have less power. Let's see how that one plays out for the Supra very soon. And the key, well, this is the BMW key and this is the Toyota key. There you see it. It's the same, and also shows the origin that it's more BMW than Toyota, a little bit, you know, one more hint. So it's a good key, light and slim. We went inside here to give you a little bit more shadow, and you can see more of the interior actually than with the hard light on the exterior. Door closing sound. Yeah, I mean, it's a coupe, so with the frameless doors, and doesn't give you the best door closing sound, that's the thing. I mean, you can really live with that. Soft touch at the inside of the doors right here, also leatherette being used right there. Then BMW Hofmeister King door from the inside here, from these handles. This is the optional Jbl Sound System, by the way, which is included in the premium package, together with an inductive charging pit for the smartphone, for example, the head-up display, and also the full animal skin seats. So usually standard would be a fabric microfiber mix, and then optional in this premium package. Yeah, and that's also the reason why you shouldn't go for that, not to give any more money to the animal industry. And of course the fabric and Alcantara standard seat is cheaper and has also the advantage that you don't sweat on it in summer times, and it's also not that cold in winter times. And this is also more a car where you say, let's keep it as basic, as simple as possible. Getting inside, typical sports car alike, but it's still somewhat comfortable for a sports car. However, I feel that the seats in the Z4 are a little bit more comfortable on, you know, on longer journeys. But again, for a sports car that looks so dramatic and it's not really big, I didn't find it that uncomfortable actually. So I'm 1m86 or 6'1". I mean, I have a seat in lowest position. I have to. Still some head clearance, so that does also work for taller people. The steering wheel is indeed different here, Toyota Supra and BMW Z4. This one looks a little more like, let's say, blend or old school alike, up and down, back and forth. Is also a BMW steering wheel, people will see that. The Z4 then comes with a sportier, more modern design, so to say. Then here, how to control the light switches, also can the BMW design. And you know, Toyota has always a good reliability and stuff, and they really build very good cars. But the interior build quality is sometimes, you know, like, let's say, basic, not bad, you know, but just basic and depending on the price. So indeed, Toyota is profiting here from the, you know, BMW stuff they put in here, and then they can really present a totally different interior than with any other Toyota actually. This will be very interesting. Let's take another look at that. And here the standard seats right there. This is then the Alcantara or microfiber on the inside, and then I'm not really sure what part is leatherette and what is real animal skin. Could not find it out by the brochures and stuff, so really hard to find it out. But these definitely way more sustainable, and of course again cooler in summer and warmer in winter times, so best to stick with these. However, again, at least in Germany, not available in this combination with the fabric seats and Jbl Sound System or head-up display. Interior overview right here. Everything is straightforward and kept simple. Horizontal design, soft touch here at the top dashboard, also the lower one. There are these hotkeys that you can individualize. Still a manual volume knob, yes, we like that, and also a manual AC unit. That's pretty cool, especially while driving. Seat heating, also a separate knob. It's so easy to control this car. That's actually very cool. As for the screen setup, by the way, whereas in the BMW you already get the more, let's say, bigger and sophisticated system, 10.25 inch left and right. Here in Toyota you get the 8.8 inch left and right. So BMW said they want to keep the fancy stuff on themselves. This more a purist approach, but everything again very easily done, and so good to control this car. You don't have to search for anything. That's really cool. Lower part with this optional premium package, you also have an inductive charging pad. That somehow makes sense then when you use the wireless Apple CarPlay, exclusively available for the only Toyota here, because then again with the BMW technology background. Then this automatic shift lever, put it backwards for the drive mode. Then for the infotainment system, you not only have touchscreen but also this turning and pressing knob. And then we can go into a sports mode that the gears are turned up higher, and also we can deactivate the ESC. Of course, that should be reserved for track use only. And in the middle part, you cannot flip up anything or something, but you have some very well accessible cup holders here. Instruments again, no unnecessary BS. You can also turn it on, yay, and that comes to life then. Left side fuel status, then the big RPMs, that's all you need. And of course the central speed then on the left side, and sorry, in the central, and which gears are put in and so on. And that's basically it, and that's absolutely fine. And when you put in the sports mode, you also see how it changes there, and also changes something of the exhaust note. Optional head-up display, this is the most useful thing in this premium package. Why can't we get that separately? Maybe it's possible in some markets, or maybe you ask your dealer very nicely, and then you can check the speed here in the head-up display, also the loud speed, and also some GPS arrows. Infotainment system, different app views here, we could call it, so to say. The car internal GPS is also by BMW, and it's actually quite simple and nice one, also leads your way very nicely. You can decide if you want to have a split screen or not. Usually I would think it's better without the split screen, I think. Also some limited voice input is available, for example, for using it for GPS addresses. And there is the wireless Apple CarPlay integration right here, and you cannot deactivate the split screen for this actually. Jbl Sound System, the optional here. Let's take a look at that. Oh, this song is almost over. But still, always good with Above and Beyond. It was a nice sound indeed. Oh, why not? That's actually pretty cool, because the bass sound system is a little bit thin, so to say. So, and let's go back to the Toyota menu. That's always possible right here. So again, also overall happy with the system. Welcome to Thomas's active driving lounge here. Track first, and we already put it in sport mode. Then we put the traction mode on, so like half ESC, so a little bit more loose play. And we stay in normal driving mode, whereas with the BMWs you would take the shifting lever into the manuelle Schaltgasse, like this manual shifting lane. Here you stay just in normal gear, and so you can do the launch control with hitting the brakes and hitting the throttle. Let's see. Plop, and that is exactly 100 kilometers. Wow, that was exactly the right amount we needed right here to get this thing going. And if someone had a doubt about if the 4-cylinder is enough, I think this acceleration shows, well, power-wise, it is actually enough. Yes, we don't have so much sound, but a little bit less weight on the front axle that makes the car really, you know, a little bit more balanced, a little bit more neutral in this whole feeling. So it's actually pretty cool. Also good noise insulation here at higher speeds, so can't complain about that. And we have a nice little track here just for us. I mean, the sound is quite decent. Yes, the 6-cylinder sounds better, but still decent, I would say. Very good neutral handling here also with the steering. So very good feeling when I'm going in some slalom here. Look how direct the commands are. Really cool. There's no dead zone area from the steering, and a very, very good feeling in the steering wheel. Again, this Toyota then profits from the BMW experience as for the natural steering feeling. Really well done. And the Supra itself, if you compare it to the Z4, the Supra is a sportier, more aggressive. The stability control is more drawn back, so to say. So let me tell you more about the differences there. When I'm in the normal traction mode, you know, and have the sports mode deactivated, everything is rather silent. You can drive that, you know, rather on the road and so on, but it's still sporty. Throttle input not as crisp. Then put in the sports mode. Then the gears are turned up higher. More for the racier approach. That was already 170 kilometers an hour. Now here hard in the corner. Car is kept relatively stable. This was then with activated traction control. Then let's go back to the first traction mode once more. Here we go, traction mode activated. And here again I can play a little bit more around with the rear. Like this. See, it comes a little bit there, but the thing is, difference to the 6-cylinder, because two effects. First of all, here the front is a little bit lighter, so it doesn't is not like a, you know, like a hook to the ground. And we have less power at the rear wheels. This is of course rear wheel driven only. And so the handling of the 4-cylinder is more, let's say, neutral, a little bit more forgiving, whereas the 6-cylinder is more aggressive. So if you're not a used, like practiced driver, the 4-cylinder will be better for you. The 6-cylinder then, if you want it more aggressive and you want to really play around with the rear of the car, for example, then the 6-cylinder will actually be better for you. If you have the money for that, or if you want to spend the money for that. But here, wow, that's pretty good performance from the 4-cylinder. 180 kilometers an hour almost. Hard on the brakes, really good performance from the brakes. I always wonder how Jonas copes with that. I mean, if I would be like a co-driver now, it's like, but Jonas, like, you know, iron stomach Jonas or something, you know. Also vegan, by the way, but yeah, can take these co-drivers experiences always a little bit better. So I'm always a little bit cautious here because other testing is going on here on this part of the track, and I mean, really amazed by the performance here. So I'm having as much fun. Handling wise, well, the 4-cylinder can be more fun in a way that you have this more controlled handling, definitely. It's just when you want to be very, very aggressive and play more with the rear. Here you can see, even in the sports traction mode, if I want to do that with the 4-cylinder, then I can still, can you maybe hold this? Yeah, this is also test, like when are things flying all over the vehicle. So you can see I can play with the rear if I really like it, but I mean, here is like more grip here. But that's, you know, what an amazing vehicle. It's so much fun. Both BMW Z4 and Toyota Supra are a lot of fun, but I feel actually the 4-cylinders come closer, whereas the 6-cylinder, the Supra is even more aggressive because it feels so loose, you know, even on the track and even with activated assistance systems. That's very interesting. So I think that's, you know, yeah, that's just a subjective feeling, you know. What we can also do is deactivate the ESC completely. We have to hold this button. Please do not ever do that on normal open roads, just on the racetrack, and if you can really, you know, use that. And we try to do a little bit more with that. Here today we can actually do that. Let's see how that one behaves. But I really think the 4-cylinder is enough. Yeah, I mean, 6-cylinder is cool to actually to drive in a more relaxed way, because you can keep it at lower RPMs on the road even, and even fuel economy wise, I will talk about that when we drive the car on the road, there's not so much difference then as well. So, you know, can be a little bit more aggressive, and I have to work a little bit more with the steering wheel. But still you can see, even if all assistance systems are deactivated, although it's a rear-wheel driven car, it is, you know, so great to handle, so great in the reaction. Yeah, maybe like a Porsche Boxster or Cayman is better to handle because it has this midship engine concept. But for a rear-wheel driven car, I mean, it's so well to control because it's not too big, relatively small. What a great sports car. I can just, you know, stress that again. And at the same time, Z4 and Supra, they're to me more comfortable in non-sporty driving, everyday driving life, than some of the very, very big sports cars. So, wow. What a cool wow experience here, and interesting with the different driving modes here and so on. So, both 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder, a lot of fun. 4-cylinder, you will always be just fine. You're really very sporty. It can be an advantage in handling, unless you want a very extreme. Yeah, and of course with the sound, you know. But definitely, great experience. What do you think? And now to the street driving lounge. So we don't have to accelerate anything here because we already had on the racetrack. And now it's about some of the comfort features. I already told you that for a small sports car, both Supra and Z4 are actually relatively comfortable. I'm a little bit more happy with the seats, with the seat form in the Z4. And of course, when you stick with the Alcantara or fabric microfiber surface, it's also softer in seating. The slick surface is always a little bit harder, so that doesn't adapt too much to the body. Also, the Supra seats are smaller, slimmer, so if you're taller, the Z4 seats will also be better. Critical is here also suspension choice and wheel choices, because a base Supra can also be bought with a normal suspension, same with the Z4, and you can also optionally get an adaptive suspension. We have that inbuilt here as an option in this vehicle. The adaptive suspension you can, by the way, also get without this premium package with the other features and stuff. And adaptive suspension does make sense. It delivers you more comfort and also the choice to be in normal mode or sports mode here. We also have this sound actuator on the interior. So we felt that on the exterior it didn't make too much of a difference from the exhaust note, but on the interior it makes more difference sound-wise. Here in the sports mode, and also the suspension is being stiffened up, so that delivers you a more sportier experience. But usually when you want to drive more relaxing also, then you would leave it out. And the suspension is really surprisingly comfortable for a sports car. It's, you know, this one again comes from BMW, whereas Toyota did their own setups, but especially as for the stability controls. So the stability control systems with Toyota are a little bit more loose here in the Supra than in the BMW. But this adaptive suspension does a really great job. You don't get any like bumps through to your lower back or so. So it's really amazing. And again, what a great neutral handling, and you can have fun in your everyday driving life, but at the same time be, you know, more or less comfortable also, although being in a sports car. So that's really, really, really cool. Fuel economy at best could be something, you know, close, like, you know, 8-something liters, 7 to 8 liters minimum. That's about in the 30 mpg regions or 40 mpg regions UK, a little bit less than 40 mpg UK. That's at best motorway cruise control. The more you punish the car, well, punish? No. The more you challenge the car, the more it will change, of course. But still, the engines are not too bad in the fuel economy. And the interesting thing is, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, yeah, I mean, crucial is that you just pay 10k less. That's really crucial, especially if your budget is tight. But as for the fuel economy, it doesn't make too much of a difference, because the 4-cylinder, you turn it up higher in the RPMs, And this BMW 3-liter inline 6-cylinder is a very efficient, bigger engine. So it's not necessarily more fuel consuming than the higher tuned 4-cylinder engine. That's also a very interesting aspect. But especially when driving here on the road and, you know, not driving with the knife between the teeth. So that's how we call it in Germany, Messer zwischen den Zähnen. Then the 4-cylinder is more relaxing to drive. You have less sound, which is somewhat, you know, less emotionally evoking, but more relaxing. Then again, the front axle is a little bit lighter. You don't have too much power on the rear, where you don't have to like work with the car. It's just a little bit easier and relaxing to drive. So if you're not seeking for the most extreme drive, it's like, I like the car visually great. I like to drive sporty, but not too extreme in a sporty way. I also want to save some money, and I don't really care so much about the sound. And, you know, the interior sound here was actually quite decent. You heard it on the racetrack, you know. So let's say you don't care so much about what people hear from the sound on the outside. Then I think the 4-cylinder is absolutely fine. If you have more money to spend, if you want to have it more extreme on the one hand, or if you say, I just want the power reserve, and in everyday driving life I enjoy a 6-cylinder because I can drive it with lower RPMs and be more relaxed with more horsepower. That could be an argument. I think I would probably, you know, follow this argumentation because I like driving the 6-cylinders, especially actually in a calm way, because they just give you this calming, more sonorous feeling, like this sovereign feeling, you know, saying like, I have the power, but I don't need to use it, you know? So that's actually, you know, a cool thought, I think. Yeah, so you can discuss it back and forth. Both engines, I think, I have their advantages and disadvantages. Comes down really what you expect from the vehicle, you know? The better overall neutral handling and the more senseful approach or logical approach would be the 4-cylinder indeed. And you can still have as much sporty fun with it. And of course the 6-cylinder, and higher in Texas, higher in price, cooler sound, yes of course. And again, this nice sonorous feeling, and of course more acceleration possible as well. In both cases, you have a lot of fun with the car. And again, I found this compromise between sportiness where you want it and still some decent comfort. It's a really nice mix. So both Supra and Z4, awesome sporty cars, definitely. To me, I think, you know, the most crucial difference next to the soft top is really the seats, because I found them more open in the Z4. Yet again, here for the Supra, you have a better option than, you know, with getting more microfiber on the inside on the base model. That's also cooler. I think that I have to go with the individual program. Yeah, I mean, screens here, you know, a little bit smaller here in the Toyota, but that's absolutely fine. Reduced to the max somehow. Everything I need to know, need to see, is right in there. And so that's also absolutely fine. So, wow, what cool driving machines they are, both 4 and 6-cylinder. And then again, maybe as last thought, if you are not like an experienced sports car driver, definitely start with the 4-cylinder, because it's a little bit more calm on the road. We had that with the Supra 6-cylinder, that it's sometimes so aggressive, even when normal driving, taking like winter times or like slippery conditions or so on. You have so much power just on the rear axle, and this will be fine when you're used to that. But you know, when you're stepping into the sports car world, then especially the 4-cylinder is very good to get used to it. Or then again, if you don't care so much about it. Very nice, by the way, always use the shifting pedals, so you can also, when you're in normal driving modes, shift back and then have a nicer acceleration out. This could be one possibility. Here at the moment, speed's still limited. Now there's unlimited speed. For countryside, it means 100 in Germany. I can go back right here, second gear. Plop, 100 kilometers, 60 miles already, and a lot of fun to use the shifting pedals. Yeah, and just awesome, and I don't want to stop riding this one. How about you, Jonas?
It's great.
Yeah, Jonas is really also likes sporty cars. And yeah, what I said on the racetrack, he has no problem in co-driving them. That's of course something also, yeah, that's very special. So a very nice city driving part here, or countryside driving part here as well. Just make a U-turn and then we'll return also to our shooting location. So great to ease this car around even outside the racetrack, and yeah, let the revs come a little bit. Maybe come to the sport mode once again. Sports mode, when dry conditions, you can use it also on, you know, in street driving. When it's slippery, by the way, then so when it's slippery, even in the sports mode with ESC on, yeah, you have to pay attention to that, because again, the rear axle is quite light. But definitely, this is less problem than in the 4-cylinder. With the 6-cylinder Supra, even with all the ESC on, we had it in our review, when you then have the red road, then yeah, that already gets funny. Let's take it that way. So, more interesting impressions here from our driving today. It was been a pleasure to have you with us, really. So glad when you're all tuning in, guys. And yeah, I mean, maybe you have time, a little bit more time at home at the moment. So please enjoy the 6-cylinder Supra review, definitely. And also, what about the Z4 reviews? We have both 6-cylinder and 4-cylinder as well. So let's say, after the conclusion, see you there. And now to our conclusion for today with the Toyota GR Supra as a 4-cylinder, this new entry-level version. Well, first of all, exterior styling. I mean, it looks very aggressive, but has a lot of round shapes, definitely. And the interior build quality is really very good. It's of course a special Toyota, because especially on the interior you see so much with BMW actually. And if you have smaller screens than in the Z4, well, I think you can definitely live with that. I think the seats in the Z4 are a little bit more comfortable. That would be a big advantage. Then again, the base seats here offer the better fabric microfiber surface here. And I think this also really works when you go for this vehicle in a base trim. Just leave it as it is. Maybe pick 1 or 2 options if you can. And then also makes sense price performance wise, for example. And the 4-cylinder also makes sense. You can have as much fun as possible also with the 4-cylinder. It has really enough power. We've shown it on the racetrack. The handling is even a little bit more neutral, so to say. A little bit lighter front axle, not so much power on the rear. That balances out the car a little bit better, especially if that's maybe your first sports car or something. That's more clever then. The 6-cylinder would be then, if you don't care about the 10K extra price, if you really want this more boosting sound, if you want more power, and you either want the possibility to have it more extreme with the rear going out, or say, you know, I like this sonorous feeling of the, you know, higher displacement, more cylinders, and I tend to drive it in a calm way as well, and don't want to push the RPMs so much as we do here in this, you know, more high revving 4-cylinder. You know, this could be the arguments actually. Z4 or Supra, of course, it's more about soft top or hard top. The Supra from the ESC settings is a little bit more loose, so a little bit more aggressive overall. And what I also found quite cool is driving with the 18-inch wheels here today. Together with the adaptive suspension, this is actually the most comfortable setup you can find. So, a lot of different interesting aspects here today. Please tune into the other episodes. We've linked in the video description and in the pinned comment. Leave us your comments here, Supra or Z4, here the 4-cylinder or the 6-cylinder. Which one would you go for? Tell us, and see you next time.